hello on here, and great. So I am here with we're doing this on Clubhouse again, and I've actually got someone listening to tell us if we've managed to sort out the technical hitch we had last week. So hello everybody, I'm Claire Snowden-Darling.
I'm Laura Knowles.
And this evening we are going to talk to you about, oh, you muted. Well, I'm hoping that we now don't have any technical hitches. That would be nice. We are talking to you about spring because it's spring. Thank God. I just was so
longest winter in history.
Now is the winter of our discontent. But why is it? No, that is a technical hitch. Every time I try and get to the comments on Facebook, it turns the volume on. I'll do it a different way. So, because obviously all your lovely comments. We're going to talk about spring, the fact that it is spring, and we're going to have a little celebration. But also, I want to talk about hormones and spring and the circadian rhythms, because I'm feeling like coming out of lockdown, the amount of pressure, people are suddenly going, oh my goodness, I put on 10 pounds because I've been eating rubbish. And I'm really nervous about coming out of lockdown and having to see people. And so there's that pressure. And then secondly, there's also going to be pressure, not just about seeing people actually having put on weight. Now I've got to put pressure on myself to lose weight. But also the problem with spring is we're coming, the summer's on the horizon. So not just the pressure to lose weight because we've been in lockdown, but it's that get the bikini body. I hate that phrase. Get a bikini body, get the summer, get ready for summer kind of body. So we wanted to talk about spring and just generally celebrate it, circadian rhythms, and what does that mean, and what does that mean for your hormones, and what does it mean for weight, and what does it mean for health, and that really. And then how does that tie into the weight loss pressure that people are feeling? Does that sound good?
Oh yeah, I'm in.
I'm in.
Sign me up. I got my notes, I got my pen. I'm ready.
We're in it. So
you first. You say something, I'll say something. That kind of conversation thing that you do.
That we do about this time on a Wednesday. Where we basically have a chat about all things hormones. So I've noticed this thing, right? Like I've been unwell for my whole life. No, I've been properly unwell since 2004. So in 2004, I think a lot of people know my story, but 2004, had my daughter, and the delightful little bean that she is, she definitely tried to kill me on the way out. However, she also tried to kill herself. So we both went through a bit of trauma. And the experience put me into a lot of things, but predominantly chronic fatigue syndrome. And I've spent 16 years trying to sort out my blimmin' adrenals, have I not? And the strangest thing happened last year, because I was young, when I was a child bride. I wasn't, but I was quite young, relatively speaking, when I had my daughter. I didn't feel it at the time, but I look back and kind of realised I was quite young. And sort of prior to that, I was very much, into clubbing and going out at weekends. And so I don't think I really remember circadian rhythms. I don't remember, and I was in my 20s, so I used to be able to stay up later and get less sleep and, all those things. And I've never been an early riser, so that's an interesting thing. So I've spent all this time working on my hormones, and finally, I think it was only last April when I finally found the hormone doctor that I wanted to work with. And it took, it might have been a bit longer. No, it wasn't then. And it took me a really long time to get my hormones balanced. And I started noticing, it was a year before. Gosh, I've been doing this for ages. I've been bloody battering on at this for ages. So it took a year before I started to get my hormones in balance. And finally, last June, during that first lockdown, I remember going out for a walk with my partner, and not having the fog of tiredness. And I remember just suddenly looking at him and going, I don't feel tired. And he's like the Duracell bunny, so he didn't really kind of understand what I was talking about. But like, it was quite an emotional moment for me, because just for the first time in 16 years, I wasn't really, really tired. Now, I then started noticing, so I had these little pockets of being in remission. And I wouldn't say, I would say I've been in remission fully from my chronic fatigue. From when did I say? Probably about September, that like, because I had little flashes and then it wasn't quite right. And then we were getting there, and then properly like in remission since September. Now, what I started noticing throughout summer last year was this whole new phenomenon. So I've had to work really hard on sleep hygiene, because my menopause insomnia is still horrendous. So I have to work really hard at it. But what I started noticing was that when I didn't have screens, was really good, went to bed at 10 o'clock, you know, took a million sleep supplements, then I could actually go to sleep, and I would start waking up as it got light. I was starting to wake up. Like, I've never been one to want to get up before 8 o'clock. I remember even when I was in my 20s, 7:30 was like the limit. Like, I'm not getting up before then. So, and it's always a real struggle, and I'm very tired if ever I do that. So last year, when I suddenly started waking up when it was getting lighter, probably about 6:30, 6:45, 7 o'clock, and then I instantly started thinking, I'm going to be exhausted. I'm going to have a sleep later. All of these things, these fears were running through my head. And I actually had to do some therapy on that last summer. And then I wasn't getting tired. And this is when I realized that I was actually heading towards remission. So I got really upset in the winter, because I'd suddenly got used to waking up early, doing some meditation, having a really structured, did the miracle mornings, all of these things. And then winter came along, and I'm still saying to my partner, oh my God, I'm dragging myself out of bed at 8 a.m. again. What is going on here? Like, I'm exhausted. We went to bed at 10. Why am I so tired? And then I realized this week, sleep hygiene, all the things, and suddenly three mornings this week, 6:45 a.m, as it's getting bright, I'm waking up again. So this is what led me to want to start talking about circadian rhythms, sleep hygiene, hormones, and actually how this works with things like weight loss, because so many people are worried about weight loss. And I think this is the conversation. Because you've always been one of those really boing early risers, haven't you? Annoying.
Then I had a baby, and I'm not so great in the morning anymore. The bit I wanted to add to this, because I've seen this with clients as well, who said in the first lockdown they were nailing it. They were exercising, they were motivated, they were out and about, the stress was low, and they felt really great in the first lockdown. And the second lockdown, I've really been hearing how much people have struggled. And I think a big part of that is also the vitamin D issue. So vitamin D is really an interesting fat soluble vitamin, because it acts like a hormone in the body. And only 10% of it comes from our food. So we can get it in, because it's a fat, we can get it in fatty foods like oily fish or egg yolks. But the majority of where we get our vitamin D is from the sun and through our skin. And the difficulty with living in the UK is that winter comes and there just is no vitamin D. And when we look at how vitamin D works in the body, so it's important for immune system. So it's it's a welcome break that we're going to start moving towards the summer, particularly what is going on with our immune systems at the moment. It regulates some of the big neurotransmitters and other hormones in the body. So it regulates adrenaline, it regulates dopamine, which is our happy. This is why it's really common that people get that sad condition in the winter, because we just don't have the right levels of dopamine and serotonin, which is controlled by vitamin D. And when we look at it from an obesity point of view, vitamin D plays a role in blood sugar regulation, which is something that we bang on about all the time. So when we don't have vitamin D coming through in our skin, and through the winter when we're indoors and we're not seeing natural light, then our hormones are absolutely affected. Our stress goes up because our adrenaline's not being regulated. Obesity goes up because we're not balancing our blood sugars. So yeah, come on, vitamin D, you're welcome back.
Yeah, exactly.
I moved to Spain.
Abandoned me.
Oh,
To Spain.
And the other issue is the other thing that we work with a lot is digestive issues. So when there is no vitamin D coming through in the sun, then we get it from our food. But if we've got digestive issues, so say we've got a bacterial imbalance in the small or large intestine, we're not going to be absorbing our fat soluble vitamins. So then we're not getting vitamin D anywhere.
So yeah, it kind of goes round and round and round, doesn't it? So circadian rhythms are a really interesting one, aren't they? So circadian rhythms, there was a study done. Well, we kind of really started getting into circadian rhythms. We started following when we discovered the paleo movement, and some of the amazing scientific research that was coming out of the paleo movement, because it really attracted a lot of functional nutritionists, a lot of doctors, and so one particular research scientist who we both adore, she was talking an awful lot about autoimmune disease and sleep and weight loss. And so talk us through a little bit about the circadian rhythm and why it's important.
From an immune perspective, or from
a perspective, what is a circadian rhythm?
So this is we as human beings and as animals, we need to be seeing daylight in the day. And this is the difficulty, is we stay in our little offices. And I remember I was working in the city, I was working for HSBC, and I used to go in the underground in the dark, and then we'd come out of the station and go up in a lift with all of the strip lights and stuff, which is also terrible for circadian rhythms. If you are working in an office, I mean, not if you're going back into working in an office with those strip lights, and you have hormone issues, stress issues, immune issues, it could really be coming from those strip lights. They so affect the brain and the way that we respond to light.
I can tell you why that is. I'm going to put a pin in it and come back to it. You carry on, you're in a flow.
So we are meant to be outdoors seeing natural light in the daytime. So yeah, when I was at HSBC, and then I get up into my office, and they'd have blinds on the windows. So I was so far away from the windows because the office was massive, and I'd stay on my screen all day and I'd work all day. And then I'd come back out in the elevator, down back into the tube. And then by the time I got back to my flat, it was dark. I never saw daylight. I was so ill. And so our pineal gland in the brain responds to light and dark. And so one of the things that we can absolutely do for our health is, in the daytime, even when it's winter, we get out and we see natural light. Our eyes are able to take that in, our pineal gland responds. And when the pineal gland is responsible for our hormones like serotonin, melatonin, and so and on the opposite side of the day, when it's dark, we need to be turning the lights down. We want to be turning the screens off, because our pineal gland is responding to that light. And if it's seeing that light at nighttime, it's not going to be producing the melatonin to help you sleep. So, there's really things that we can be doing to support our poor pineal gland.
Yes, poor pineal gland. And because the pineal gland is really important, isn't it? Because we sort of think of it as just light and dark, but actually it's not. It has a huge connection with other glands in the endocrine system. And when the pineal gland is not getting this kind of natural light and dark response, then we actually go into a stress response, don't we? So that's why you wear your lovely orange glasses to match your orange jumper.
It's the fashion. It's not my pineal. I like the look.
Suits you, it's in your colour palette. And that's part of the process of keeping it dark at night, because you're an hour ahead of us particularly. So, you know, like for me, I have to be really careful of no screen time after a certain time. I have to, like just really allowing darkness and shutdown. So like for years I had a Kindle, and I've gone back to proper books to try and get rid of the, any blue light at all. So it's really, really important, because otherwise it can radically affect our adrenal glands and can put us into a stress response. And, we go on and on and on about this, but the more we're in a stress response and we're producing cortisol, the body thinks that we're in a crisis, and we actually go into fat storage because it suddenly is in a panic. So cortisol is going to then have a knock-on effect with insulin, which puts us into fat storage, and that's actually going to contribute to weight. So this whole light and dark situation is huge for weight loss, for sleep health, for mood, for all of it. It's so important.
When we look at the glandular system, and we're so passionate about teaching this and teaching our clients this, when we look at the glandular system, all of the endocrine glands work together. And another really important one is the thyroid. And the thyroid is here in the throat, and it is in the neck, and it is to do with metabolism, and it's to do with temperature. So those who, if you're under a lot of stress, if you're eating a lot of sugar, if you're not supporting your pineal gland because you're not getting outside, then all of these glands that go out of whack have a knock-on effect with the thyroid. And the thyroid, a classic symptom with thyroid is cold hands and feet, which is just a miserable experience in the winter. So when I experience this myself, is why I look forward to the summer so much, because once I get cold, I can't warm back up again.
Cannot warm back up again.
That's classic thyroid. So we
annoying.
want to be.
It's just annoying.
But like blankets don't even cover it. I have to get in the bath.
No, you're right. And not a shower either, because there's too many bits of me that I need to be fully submerged in warm water. Honestly, with such delicate flowers. And because if I get cold as well, then I can't sleep, because there's not enough of that sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, all the oxytocin and all the really lovely things. Yeah, no sleep if I get cold. Shocking.
I'll see, I'm the same.
So I was going to tell you about strip lights.
Yes, please.
So this is a really interesting one. This is actually harking back to my days as a lighting designer when I trained in theatre.
So many jobs.
Many jobs.
It's an interesting background.
My CV is just like, ridiculous. This is like literally ridiculous. It's like, okay. Did she want to choose one career? No, I'd like three, and then I'm going to interweave them at a crucial time. So what's really interesting about natural daylight is it's a 360 degree light. When we go outside, it's 360 degrees. Now, most lights are not 360 degrees. So I'm sitting underneath some pendant lights. And so you can see that there's not 360 degrees worth of light. There's literally this kind of light here. Oh, those of you on Clubhouse can't see, but like I'm sitting under a light. So there is like, a key bit of light. It's called key light. And you might then, in theatre terms, you kind of go, oh, well, then someone being lit from the front is just going to be too stark in the front. So we'll bring a light in at the side. That's called your fill light. So what we do in theatrical terms is you'll be mimicking sort of specific lighting situations with key and fill lights. Now, strip lights basically mimic 360 degree light. Now, something happens in the body when we have 360 degree light. The body firstly, the pineal gland goes, oh, 360 degree light. Oh, that's sunlight, that is. So I better stimulate. And secondly, we start to think about producing melatonin because we're expecting to get sun on our skin. And then that doesn't come along. And so suddenly these endocrine glands have geared up and it doesn't come along. Now, I know about this particularly because I actually have a strip light intolerance, like a proper strip light intolerance, because I'm such a delicate nubbin.
Me too, though. I hear you. I'm so ill.
So ill. I could literally 10 minutes, 20 minutes now of being under a strip light and I can have a headache, and then in the old days, migraines, yeah. And it's actually a really, really common thing. When I worked in the office, I had to have the strip lights taken out, just little desk lamps. They used to call it the mushroom office because it was so dark. Because I hate it. I hate strip lights. And it's because I could feel the stress again in my body as it's gearing up for all these lovely hormones, all of these lovely natural processes that then get stopped.
Mm.
You know, it's the exact same process that happens when we eat sweeteners like aspartame. The body goes, oh, sugar's coming, and then it sends this message to the pancreas to say, quick, produce insulin because sugar's coming. And then there's all this insulin, and then there's no sugar, and so we've got all this insulin. So it's the exact same process with strip lights, and that's why they actually are huge for the immune system, hugely, really affecting.
Oh, it's so interesting. I love how the body works. This is another thing. It's one of the issues with sunglasses, is that if your eyes aren't able to see the sunlight, your skin doesn't produce the right kind of protection. So it's common that people who are wearing sunglasses will burn in the sun.
Wow, is that true?
Wow, isn't that amazing?
Wow.
I know. How
Wow.
clever is the body?
That is amazing, because I'm like, you know, classic brunette, brown eyes. I don't, like, if I forget my sunglasses, it's not the end of the world. I don't really burn. That is so fascinating.
Mm-hmm. All these connections of how the body works to protect itself and to balance itself, this homeostasis, and we just mess with it.
But doesn't it show us how literally denatured we are? How far removed we are from our true nature as animals, and how living in our little individual boxes with the light, with heat, with all of these things have actually messed us up. Not that I'm about to go and say I'm going to live in a shack with no heating, because like that would make me cry, because I'm really not good for cold. But as
Thyroid wouldn't like it.
my thyroid wouldn't like it.
Although I've been so intolerant to the heating this winter. I mean, honestly, it's like a dry heat. I've had to turn the heating down, but I can't have it too low because then I get really cold. But if I can't have it too high because my skin kicks off.
Delicate flower.
Really, really delicate. The other thing that we can consider with springtime coming in. So one of the things that we have, the things that we teach in our foundation kinesiology training is the Chinese 5-element, traditional Chinese element theory. And that looks at the seasons and the connection with different organs. And springtime is for the liver and the gallbladder. And the liver's a massively important organ. It does so much. It detoxifies, our hormones, our toxins, it produces bile to be able to digest our fat, so it's got a role in digestion. The liver is considered an immune organ because of the immune cells it produces. The liver is just this amazing, amazing organ. So it is an interesting time to do a detox or a cleanse, but we feel very strongly, having had a lot of personal and professional experience of detoxes and cleanses, that things like a juice cleanse at this time of year is a silly idea. Because because it is just, when you juice fruit or vegetables, then you are stripping the fiber out, which is nature's way. We're back to nature's way of balancing the sugar that hits your bloodstream. And so when you remove the fiber, then you're just getting a big hit of sugar. And when we look at how the liver actually does detoxify our toxins and our hormones, it needs nutrients like protein, like amino acids, which you get in meat, fish, eggs. So if you're just doing a juice detox, then you're not getting that. Yes, there is some protein in vegetables, but it's not the levels that you need for your liver to be fully supported to be able to go into phase 2 detox. It also requires different minerals like magnesium and zinc and L-glutamine and as an amino acid, and these nutrients come from meat and fish. And so stripping those out, we always believed that doing a juice detox was something that was supportive for our body, but actually we were just crashing our blood sugars and probably stressing our liver out more.
Stressing our liver out more and actually not detoxing. In fact, what we're doing is hindering detoxing. It's the opposite of what we wanted to do, which is ridiculous. So yes, a lot of people want to do spring detoxes, don't they? And yes, in Chinese medicine, they would say that this is the best time to do it, but definitely not a juice fast. So what would we be talking about in terms of a detox? Well, the thing is, your entire body is geared up to detox. So we don't have to do very much to detox. What we have to do is just not put in the rubbish.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
Yeah, put in the nutrient dense food and strip out the food intolerances.
Yeah, so no wheat, no dairy, no sugar, eat a protein, fats, and the right carbs at every meal.
Yeah.
That is literally detoxing. Get in nature, deep belly breathing, drink loads of water. That's a detox.
So we have our symptom assessor, which is a handy little quiz that looks at what your lifestyle is like, looks at the issues that you're struggling with, and then will recommend the best pathway and the best toolkits. We've created these little toolkits to be able to follow, and those toolkits are absolutely designed and tailored for people who are doing the symptom assessor. And that's what I would recommend doing at this time of year, because the diets that we've put together are clean, wholesome, balanced eating. We recommend supplements, again, that's really targeted to the issues that you're dealing with. And yes, supporting your body. We'd also recommend lifestyle changes, the kinds of exercise that you want to be doing, the kinds of things that you want to be supporting your body with. And so I would say, if you're looking to do some kind of detox, if you're thinking, okay, I've been locked down for winter and it's been miserable and my blood sugar's all over the place and I've been eating rubbish and I just need to get some kind of balance, the first place I go to is this symptomassessor.co.uk.
And how do you get
it? It's on sale.
It's on sale. Yes, I was going to say it's an even better time of year to do it, because for the next few days it is on sale. So it's half price, and the symptom assessor's free. Yeah. And then the toolkits are 50% off. So they come in at like £23.50, I think my maths is telling me, which is, I mean, they are beautiful. They are a thing of beauty. There's so much in them. They are incredible. They were cheap at 47. Now they're an absolute bargain. And the idea is that you go back and you do everything for a month, go back and redo the assessor, see where you are, and then maybe you're on a different toolkit. So we recommend getting the bundle, which is all of the toolkits. And so that right now is actually, there's 6 of them, including our emotional, amazing, or 5 of them. Yeah. Oh yeah, 5 of them. So not the emotional one, that's different. That's a different product. Shut up, Claire.
No, the emotional one's in there. The emotional one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And that is £73.50, and that is for 6 to 12 month program. So if you're thinking, okay, I don't want to just do this for spring, I'm ready to really commit, then
if you're going to see a therapist for 6 to 12, for 12 months, you'd be looking at easily over £1,000. So we're very excited by this particular product that we have created, because it's just so brilliant. So check the symptom assessor. I can't say it, put my teeth in. Check out the symptom assessor, do it, and then have a look at the toolkits. And yeah, for the next few days, 50% off, which is just brilliant. And yeah, the emotional one, Reclaim Your Life, is a game changer. And we're not talking about that this week, but like that bundle is an incredible offer, absolutely incredible.
So detox your emotions. That's a great idea.
Oh yeah, and what I was going to say is, how do you get a bikini body? Buy a bikini. Put it on your body. That's it. And if you have issues with that, then I suggest getting in some radical self-love and getting into some non-judgmental space. And if you struggle with that, then check out our self-love talk on our website.
It's also radicalselflove.co.uk. We do like a URL.
We do the URL, radicalselflove.co.uk. There is, like, we do a lot of talking about radical self-love, because until we're in radical self-love, we're not going to be choosing the right foods. We're going to do a quick detox and then go back to, or is it detox, don't retox?
Mm-hmm.
It's that, like, radical self-love gives us moderation. It gives us balance. It's where it comes from.
But isn't this how we got into this in the first place? Is both you and I started looking at nutrition first, didn't we? We were like, well, it's got to be food, and we've got to be doing these crazy diets, and then after a while, we realized that if we wanted to really get underneath our health, we had to look at it from this whole perspective. So we had to look at the nutrition, we had to look at the physical impacts that were happening on our bodies, and we had to look at the emotional side. The
emotional side is so key, like, not just about the emotions of what's going on in our life, but our emotional connection to our condition.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are good days and bad days, but the bad days could derail us in terms of our commitment. It could be, well, I'm having a bad day, I'll sod it, then I'm just gonna, eat crap, and then just derail myself and self-sabotage and hate myself. Or, like, weight has always been a real thing for me, up and down, like, bloody hell, it drives me insane. And I'm like the most disciplined person. It's so annoying. And it's because of my hormone imbalance, right? Like, it's because of my hormone imbalance. And so I've had to go on such a huge journey of self-love, so that I don't just kind of wake up, so I don't just look at what's on the scale as the metric. Like, that does not get to tell me how much I love myself.
And exactly the same with my skin, exactly the same. It used to really, like, grate on me. I wouldn't go out because I just hated it so much. And I'm still managing it. It's been particularly bad this winter. But because I'm coming from a place of self-love, I'm like, there's an acceptance that wasn't there.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same place. Am I still going to work hard to make sure that I can be the best version of myself? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But it's acceptance. Acceptance is a great word. A great word. Yeah. And that does come from self-love, and that comes from doing a lot of work. And so that would be our radical self-love. I feel like here's a product for this. Very busy.
Yes, we have. COVID for us has been quite a boot up the bum. It was this, wow, okay, we can see that there is an opportunity here to really create, to get all the stuff out of our heads into the tools that are available online now. Get them into those tools. Has been a labor of love.
So the other thing that's, like, super exciting is we have obviously got the amazing College of Functional Wellness, and we are so proud of having created that and being an accredited college with 2 governing bodies. And we have been quite prolific in the last few months of courses that we've created. So we have our accredited kinesiology practitioner training course. We also offer foundation kinesiology. So there is a whole training pathway for kinesiology. But we also know that not everyone wants to be a kinesiologist, and some people are just interested in health or emotion. And so you spoke, we listened. So Laura was very, very busy in January, February, creating the most gorgeous foundation nutrition course called Nutrition for Health. And that is a gorgeous, gorgeous foundation. It explains everything that you need to know if you're interested in getting going on the journey of health. And then the idea is that we are creating, and we are launching, we have launched, but it will be fully finished and ready to go by the beginning of April, our functional wellness coaching course. And that is like training as a it's a full practitioner training, isn't it? So it's all of our hormone work, it's all of the proper nutritional and supplementation work, it's how to be a coach, it's got marketing in there, it's got this, it's everything you need to be a practitioner in the methodologies that we have created. So we're super excited about that, and we're currently still working very hard on that. But the other thing that we are just launching when it gets on the website is, as part of all of this training, we also needed to create a foundation in coaching. And so we have created a foundation in coaching course. And it's all of the basics. If you're just interested in having better communication skills, or you are a therapist of any kind or a practitioner of anything, and you just struggle to know how to respond to people, it's all the foundations in that. And that actually leads on to the other accredited course we have, called Holding Space, which is our professional practitioner training course in the emotional transformation work that we do. Good God, as I'm saying that, we have been busy.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes. So our courses are for people who want to be professional, but they're also for people who are just generally interested, because we have got the different levels, the different access levels.
So in summary, I think I said this last week, if you are interested in emotional or coaching, then there's a foundation course, and then there's a practitioner course. If you're interested in nutrition, there's a foundation course and then a practitioner course. If you're interested in kinesiology, there's a foundation course and a practitioner course.
Yes.
Ta-da!
Beautifully summarized.
Why, thank you kindly.
So we haven't got any questions this week. So that is spring. I'm so excited. Although it is going to be -2 again this week. So it's kind of doing that thing that it does in March, where it goes, woohoo, it's really warm. Oh no, it's really cold again.
Would you like to come to Spain?
Not allowed, it's illegal. Hands up, everyone in Britain who wants to go to Spain right now. Not allowed.
Well, you're all welcome. I've got a spare room, you're all welcome.
All Britain.
Whole of Britain in the spare
You
room.
are very good at making a massive vat of soup.
I am good at that. I do a mean breakfast as well.
Yeah, you do. But yes, I'm not sure Boris will let anybody go just yet.
Ugh.
I know, we've got to wait a little bit longer.
Inner teenager. Ugh.
I know. It's snowboarding season.
Very springtime as in a teenager.
Yeah, no. But the cherry blossom's out, so it can be -2 and the cherry blossom will get frost. But yes, that's it for this week. And do check us out. Come back with any comments, and we would love to hear from you. Bye.
Bye.